Hi everyone, welcome back, and we're going to be covering the spell token. So from previous videos, I'm sure most of you have seen that we had a significant support resistance zone at 0.0252. Various attempts over the previous days to break above have not worked in our favor. So what we've been looking out for now is maintaining other significant support zones. Sadly, as Bitcoin has made its corrections, it has not played out well for Spell, and we have essentially fallen below each support zone, and then it's proved as resistance once we've tried to get above. So we initially lost 0.0237 yesterday, and then we lost 0.0222, and we've been consolidating above the significant channel of price, where this is sort of like our strongest area for support and resistance. So in the last video I made a prediction that we would essentially bounce from here and moon straight back up, break through a couple of support resistance zones. That would be the hopeful review, but that didn't happen. What seems to have happened is we're following suit with the more bearish upswing, which, looking at Bitcoin, is quite fair. So Bitcoin has had a big state of flux over the last 2 days of trading. I did predict us moving lower, having a bounce, and getting back up into this support channel. I'm going to extend this now, and as such, we did have the bounce. I did predict that we'd fall to about the 45,800 range. We slightly wicked below it, bounced off, but then we were rejected by this support resistance channel, and we've just fallen back below in the last 12 hours. And although we've had some peaks and troughs within this time, we have been moving lower. We do seem to have found some support at 45,700. So fingers crossed we don't move lower and retest and have a bounce at 45.2. Not a problem if we do, just I would rather we didn't, because it may affect my wick off phase pattern, which we appear to have been following quite closely. We were due to make a mini bounce after our letter M/N, before we had a week of positivity to the upside, slight retest, and then a good few weeks of upswing, where we'd see us getting back up to sort of levels of all-time high. If you haven't watched my lengthy video on Bitcoin, where I discussed the Wyckoff phases, I suggest you do. But realistically, what we're looking for now is a bounce, a retest, and then we should have a good solid 2 or 3 weeks of upward momentum. So back to Spell. What to look for now? I'm just going to move these lines along, because obviously the bearish position does seem to have played out, although slightly after the prediction. So that is pretty fitting to what we've seen, where we've not held support, we've dipped lower, we've bounced from the support resistance channel, and then we've eventually wicked into it. And what I'm expecting to happen now is we will probably downtrend along with Bitcoin. If it continues to move south, I hope and expect us to stay above 0.020. At the very worst case scenario, we shouldn't drop and hold below this support zone. And then at that point, we'd start to see a bounce and a retest of these support zones before we get back up to eventually test the 252, which is our biggest challenge in the short term. Now, this may not play out exactly to the line. Granted, most of my predictions have fitted to expectation and followed the line of trajectory. However, this one was a few hours slower than what was predicted here. So if this happens over the next day or two, then not to worry. That is what I expect us to see, as long as Bitcoin stabilizes and possibly moves back up to a higher level, circa the 46.5 to 47.5 range, and then consolidates there before a break higher. All right, so what to look for now if we move lower will be okay, let me just draw this out. So if Bitcoin continues to have a correction downwards, I would expect us to take a bounce at 0.0205, slightly higher, and then back down to 0.0202, and then we may see some movement within this channel here, peak higher or peak lower, depending on how significant any Bitcoin corrections are. We may, if we are moving down, see a sharp wick, maybe like a 1 minute candle down to 0.01885, back up, and if we're not accepted above the 0.0202 zone, we may see a fall back down to 1883, consolidate, and then possibly move down even further. I'm gonna make that position red, and I'm gonna turn the more bullish position green, and because I do see this playing out more so than a correction to the downside. However, we are in a position where we're not crystal clear on what Bitcoin is doing. I'm confident that we're not going to go much lower, but as we've seen, Spell seems to be reacting to Bitcoin in unfortunate times. So we're very much at resistant points when Bitcoin decides to correct, and as such we drop off the table more than we'd see if we were above a resistance zone. So as we're just below them, we're having more catastrophic wicks to the downside. So like I say, if Bitcoin does decide to correct another 1-2%, especially if we're in zones where we're challenging either at the top or the lower end of resistant channels, we may see some quite harsh declines over the next coming 2 days. I can't see us dropping below 0.017, and if we were to, that's the point where I'd expect us to spike and have a nice wick all the way through. As you see, when we do start to move lower, we do get strong volume come into the token, which prevents us from dropping catastrophically lower. So I'd like to say that if we were to wick even at this point, we'd see a really strong spike of volume, which would take us back up to this sort of zone and consolidate through the center. So I will actually draw that, because I do think that is a possibility, that we take a wick down, but then we're volumed pushed back up, and then we're back in this channel for a period of consolidation before either following trend with Bitcoin to move down or following trend with Bitcoin to move up. Okay, so I'm going to mark both of those orange, and that will be all from me this evening. I'm sorry it's not better news. I'm sorry it's not more confident with regards to an upswing, or, you know, I can't say for sure that we're moving higher or lower. All I can say is that we're in a state of flux, and Spell has not been treated favorably with the timings of the Bitcoin corrections. So hopefully when the next video comes out tomorrow, we'll be following a more clearer pattern, whether it be an upswing, sideways consolidation, or we'll look for something where we're moving lower. If we are moving lower, I'll give you some good, honest, fair advice. Although this is not financial advice, I do care about my subscribers and viewers, and I don't want to see anyone losing money. So please do remember to subscribe. notified to the channel, so you can see this info as soon as it comes out. And I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope you have a good evening. Take care.